All right, I think we got all the bugs out, got everything going. Just found out today that you could actually stream live from Zoom to Facebook. So went on Facebook Live. Um, so we're gonna get started right at 7 o'clock. Because I don't like to hold people too long. But I do want this to be a conversational piece. I am recording it, so for those who come in late, for those who aren't here, you will see this on the recording. All right, so there we go. Let's see. All right, we're gonna get started in 1 minute, letting a couple more people come in or fall in that want to be a part of the conversation. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. Like I said, I don't want to hold anybody. I don't want to make this too long and too drawn out. Like I know a lot of Zooms or a lot of webinars can be. I just want to get really straight to the point and make this a conversation that needs to be had, a conversation that is really, I don't want to say hidden, but it's kind of hidden when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, especially in the Black community and with Black and minority communities. So a little bit about myself. My name is Asia McMillan. I am a marketing strategist. That's what I kind of call myself. I do any and everything marketing, from photo, video, graphic design, web design, you name it. I started my own business in 2011. I'm the owner of Fresh Ambition LLC, which is the parent company to many different businesses, including the one that you're watching this on right now, which is bigger than brunch. And I also am the founder and president of BeyondFour Foundation Inc, which is a nonprofit organization geared towards using sports to help youth in my community within Orlando, Florida. So, like I said, it's really something that's hidden within the Black and minority communities. Well, first of all, I know Nikki is supposed to be on here, so that's kind of going to be the elephant in the room. So it was supposed to be me and Nikki having a conversation, and but Nikki had a family emergency that she had to deal with 4 day this morning, last night, so she isn't able to be on here live. But she said if she is able to find the time, that she will come on here and either listen in or join in with her perspective as well. So it's supposed to be a conversation that me and her were going to have, me being a more seasoned business owner and her being a new entrepreneur and business owner. But I'm going to kind of have the conversation really with myself and with those who are participating on the webinar. Now, if you all have any questions along the way, if you all want to chime in and put in your 2 cents, say something that you feel needs to be said, just put it in the chat and let me know if you want to come on video, or if you have questions or anything like that, just put it in the chat and I'll get to those questions. So yeah, back to what I was saying. It's really something that's hidden. Mental health in business is really something that is kind of hidden and put on the back burner when it comes to Black and minority communities, Black and minority entrepreneurs and business owners. Now I'm going to tell kind of a little bit about my story and how it came to light, with mental health being one of those topics that I wasn't afraid to talk about it, but I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand how I was feeling or why I was feeling this way. Now, when you start a business, there are so many different factors that go into creating that business, that go into making that business something great, making it something that you're proud of, something that you want to leave as your legacy. It's so many different things that go into forming that business, whether it's getting your LLC or becoming a C Corp or S Corporation. And if you have any questions about the terms that I'm using, feel free to just hit me up and I'll go over it with you. But when you're trying to get your business off the ground, you have to get an LLC. You have to register your business with the state. You have to get an EIN number. You have to, first of all, kind of going back to step one, you have to figure out what it is that you want to do. And for a lot of people, they don't know. They don't know what it is that they're good at. They don't know what their passions are, their passion is. They don't understand what to do and how to do it and where to actually start. And that in itself can be very, a big burden. It can be a big burden, especially if you are a first-time business owner or entrepreneur, or if you are a first-generation business owner. You are trying to do so many things at once, whether it's make extra money to pay your bills, whether it's just starting something that's maybe a passion project that turns into more, whether it is, really trying to provide for your family with this business and with the skill set that you have and kind of putting it out there and building your audience. It's so many different things that go into creating a business that a lot of people really don't know and a lot of people don't talk about. And it's a certain level of stress that goes into formulating that business, and not only starting the business, but actually keeping that business afloat, making that business, last long term and not just 6 months to a year or 2 years or less, which is a lot of small businesses only last 1 to 2 years. So there's so many different things when it comes to the entrepreneur journey that is left on the table or left off of the table and isn't talked about. So I really just wanted to create this environment to have that conversation. What is it that we are left out of as minorities, especially? What is it that we don't understand going into this? What is it that we don't understand? And also, how can I be of help to those who don't understand how to start their own business, or who don't understand the stresses and the mental fortitude that you have to have in order to start this business. So going back to 2011 a little bit here, I just want to kind of recap. So I started my business really off of a whim. I was in school, dropped out of school, and really didn't know where I wanted to go with my life. I was kind of still trying to figure myself out. So I dropped out of college. I was going to be a biology major. And that's a whole nother mental journey in itself. But I was a biology major, and I quickly realized that I did not want to be a doctor because it really was just too stressful, and it just was something that I wasn't passionate about. So I dropped out of school, went back home, and just was trying to figure out life, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, doing different part-time jobs in the retail industry. And one day it just kind of hit me like, okay, something I want to do is get into marketing. I want to get into business. No one in my family knew or had started a business. As far as I know, I'm the only person in my family that has really started a legitimate business, a legitimate organization. So I didn't have anyone there to tell me what to do. I was just kind of winging it. I was going on Google, searching things. And when you don't have anyone to guide you, it gets even harder. It's even harder to find your footprint and to find your way in the industry that you're going in, because you have no guidance. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to start. So I figured out I wanted to do marketing, and I got with a friend and started doing t-shirts. So doing t-shirt designs, a little bit of web design here and there, and just really teaching myself how to use the Adobe programs, how to use different, graphic design programs, different website design programs. And from there, it kind of snowballed into me getting into photography and videography. And I kind of started making a niche for myself within my community and within my space of people as, the photographer. Asia's the one who could take pictures. She can do video stuff. She can make you a website or a logo. And that's kind of how it snowballed. I didn't start by getting an LLC. I didn't start by, incorporating and registering my business. I didn't start with a business plan. I didn't start with all the things that you actually are supposed to start with when you get into or when you want to build your business or start a business. I didn't have any of that because I didn't know anything about what I was doing. So fast forward a little bit, a few years, it got to the point where I was I was kind of depressed. I don't like to use the word depression, although we need to use the word because it's a real thing. But I was just in a place where I didn't want to do anything. I had got to the point where I was like, okay, my business isn't making me enough money to sustain me long term. It's not making me enough money to pay my bills because I'm just doing it here and there. I didn't really have a full-time job. I didn't have a college degree. It was to the point where I was really just really down. I was really down, just going to work, basically just living enough to barely live. I couldn't put gas in my car. And I'm talking, this isn't like back like 2011, this is like 2014, 2015. This isn't, so I'm not long removed from this. So it took me a while to really get to the point of understanding what my passion was. I had to go through, being down mentally, really being down mentally and trying to figure out what is it that you want to do? What is it that you're passionate about? What is something that you see yourself doing long term? And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that if you're doing something, I don't care what it is, if it's a 9-to-5 job, I don't care if it's your own business, working for your family, I don't care what it is. If you're doing something that you do not love and you aren't passionate about, it's not going to work out in the long term. And a lot of people get what they're supposed to do right now confused with what they're supposed to do for a lifetime. And once you figure out what your passion is, and it could take you years, it could take you months, it could take you, your lifetime to really figure out what you're passionate about, but you can't escape that journey. And I feel like I was getting to a point where I wasn't understanding my journey. I wasn't understanding the process, and everything happens for a reason. And I got really, really down, really out mentally, was really depressed. No, I didn't really go to anyone or tell anyone about it. I just kind of dealt with it in my own way. And if you know me, then you know that I just deal with things in my own way, which is a good and a bad thing, or can be a good and a bad thing. But there are certain ways or certain things that you can do to kind of get yourself out of that funk, or to remove yourself from that mental state, or that state of, being so overwhelmed within your business, or being so overwhelmed with life in general, that you want to give up on everything. You want to give up on the things that, that give you joy, and the things that you are passionate about, but you can't let yourself get to that point. So this is definitely something that I wanted to do, to just kind of touch on those things that we can do as business owners, as entrepreneurs, that will help us continue to focus on our passion and to focus on our goals, or the things that we have set before us within our business. So I have a few things that I just kind of wrote down, and I'm just going to go over them. And it just kind of came to mind because, like I said, I did not want this to be like one of those regular webinars or Zooms where you just kind of go in there and listen. I kind of just wanted to give people tips on how to actually go through their business and fight those mental battles as best as they can, because they're going to come. It's not all, sunshine and convertibles. It ain't like I'm an entrepreneur and I'm about to make 6 and 7 figures this year, 6 and 7 figures, 8 figures the next year. No, it does not happen like that. And anyone who tells you that that's how it happens is lying. They lying through their teeth, or they just really, are really, really lucky, really, 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 really blessed, or they just inherit a whole bunch of money. So a few things that you can do as a business owner or an entrepreneur when it comes to learning how to battle your current mental state or the mental state of depression through business and through being an entrepreneur. The first thing that you need to do is you need to understand, Chelsea's writing in the chat. Yeah, so I'll get to that question in a minute. So the first thing you need to do is you need to understand what your passion is. You need to understand what your passion is. And you also need to understand if you are mentally capable to follow that passion in the now. Like right now, if you sit down and say, okay, I'm passionate about this, this is what I want my business to be about, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, you need to make a checklist and say, okay, am I mentally capable to start this right now? Is this something that I can handle with everything else that's going on within my life right now? You may have things going on personally or with your family, with your friends, loved ones, whatever it is. You kind of have to make a checklist and say, hey, these are the things that I have going on right now. Am I mentally capable of, adding this next, business venture or becoming an entrepreneur? Am I mentally capable of adding this to my list? And once you understand your mental capacity, it makes things a lot easier because you're able to say yes or no to certain things. You're able to say yes or no. Yes, I can put this on my plate. No, I cannot go out with you today because I have to write my business plan. No, I can't go to brunch. I can't go to lunch today because I gotta make sure that I get my paperwork in for my LLC. If you can't put your business or your passion before some of the other things in your life, then you may not be mentally capable or mentally ready to take on business and entrepreneurship. Okay, the next thing is you have to learn how to fight through various mental states. Depression and mental health should be treated like depression and mental health. You can't say, oh, I feel tired today, my mind. I have the tendency of saying I'm mentally drained. And for me, when I say I'm mentally drained, that means, okay, I got to take a step back. I got to take a step back and really focus on what it is that I need to do, what it is that I need to fight through right now, and what's important for me to fight through right now. If you can't, really pinpoint where that mental anguish or where that mental stress is coming from, then you got to, again, take a step back and refocus your priorities and reanalyze what it is that you're doing, what it is that's on your plate, and what you're able to fight through at that moment. If you're not able to fight through going to get your business license, if you're not able to fight through putting up that post on social media, okay, take it off your list. Fight through something else that day. But you have to be able to fight through. No matter what it is, you guys got to keep going. But you have to understand that you guys got to take some things off your list. Take it off your list, fight through it another day. Take it off your list, put it to the side for tomorrow. But never, always put it to the side, but never take it and put it completely in the back, if that makes sense. Because some of us have a tendency to, I guess, like we'll take things off of our list, or we'll say, okay, I'm gonna do this tomorrow, I'm gonna do this 2 or 3 weeks from now, and it'll never get done, never get done. And you keep putting it off for another month, or 2 months here, 3 months there. You have to realize that, okay, I'm taking it off my list for the day, but I'm gonna tackle it tomorrow because I'm gonna fight through whatever it is I got going on right now. Whatever this little episode I'm having right now, I'm gonna fight through that and I'm gonna get back on my grind tomorrow, okay? It's okay to take breaks, but at the same time, you gotta really push through those mental, just those mental battles that you have as a business owner or entrepreneur. So Chelsea has a question. If you have multiple passions, how do you choose which one to specify for your business? That is a great question. So I'm just gonna kind of take a side into Chelsea's question. So me, I call myself a jack of all trades and a master of many of them. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, you can't be a jack of all trades, you can't do everything and still, enjoy life or still enjoy the things that you're doing. Yes, you can. I do, like I said before, I do a little bit of everything. I do graphic design, I do photography, I do marketing, I do sports marketing. I do a little bit of everything. And there are certain things, it's certain things that you kind of gotta have. You kind of gotta have I like to say I have an industry of myself. So I am an industry, but I house so many different things that tie back into that one industry. So my industry is sports. It's sports and business. Okay, so sports business. My photography leads back to sports business, and marketing. When I'm marketing athletes or businesses, it's usually sports related. So you kind of have to really find your niche, but understand that finding your niche doesn't mean you have to be siloed into one specific thing. You can branch out and do so many different things under one niche. You can be that person that's like Chelsea. Chelsea's a lawyer, but she's also an agent. Um, when you have an agency, you don't just have one thing that you're focused on. You're not just focused on representing, and some people do, but you're not really just focused on representing those athletes and getting those contracts signed. You're focused on what to do pre-draft. If they're getting drafted into, say, the NBA or NFL, what to do pre-draft, what to do, post-college, which, is a whole different thing in itself. So you got like pre-draft, you got post-college, the pro days. You have multiple things that you're doing. Then you have what you're doing during their NFL or NBA career. You have what you're doing post-career. So all of those things can be considered multiple layers of one industry. So you have your sports agency, and then you branch out into your marketing. You branch out into your player development or your client development. You branch out into your post-career preparations. What are you going to do after you can't play anymore? And I feel like as agents, a lot of people don't really give agents a lot of credit, sports agents, a lot of credit for what they do behind the scenes, and not just the fact that they just sign, contracts and negotiate contracts. But if you have multiple passions, understand that it's okay. It's okay to do all of them. It's okay to do all of them. You just have to prioritize which ones you want to work on in that moment. You can do multiple things at once. So don't let anyone tell you that, oh, if you're passionate about music, you can't be passionate about business at the same time. Like, what do you mean? Being a music artist, you have to understand the business of the industry. So you have to kind of tie in, the both worlds within what you're doing. You don't want to be a music artist. You don't understand your money. You don't understand investing, or you don't understand accounting. You don't understand how to, read your contracts and negotiate on your own behalf. So there are so many things that you, like I say, if you have multiple passions, you can work on all of them. You can do all of them, do everything that you want to do, but be focused on that one business. And this is an example that I have. I'm going to use myself for an example. So I own Fresh Ambition LLC. Now, Fresh Ambition LLC is a parent company to Fresh Creative Group, which is my sports marketing agency, to Bigger Than Brunch, which is my kind of houses my events. So I have all of my events under the Bigger Than Brunch brand. It also houses BeyondFour Foundation, which is my nonprofit. Okay. And it also houses Sports Marketing Perspective, which is my sports marketing media company. So all of those different things, although they seem different in nature, they have their own audience. They have their own, their own look, their own feel, but they are all housed under Fresh Ambition LLC. They all lead back to sports, business, and marketing. If you can kind of see where I'm going with that. So you can have multiple passions. You can want to be in the media industry. You can want to do philanthropy and, have your nonprofit. You can want to do marketing, but I just suggest that they tie back into one core industry. So no problem, no problem. Um, and that's also another a good segue into what I was going to talk about next, which is continuing to trust your journey and your process. I kind of hit on this a little bit. This is one of the things that you have to do to understand your mental state. And I kind of hit on this a little bit earlier, but we have to realize and understand that things are not going to happen overnight. Nothing's going to happen overnight. You're not going to wake up and instantly become famous or instantly become a celebrity. And you have to understand that although it's not going to happen overnight, it's going to happen. And that was one of the biggest things for me that I had to understand. I used to get so down on myself because I wasn't where I thought I needed to be within my business or within, I almost thought I had imposter syndrome. And a lot of people deal with this where, on social media, especially on social media, you got everything looks a certain way. People really can be fooled on social media, but everything looks a certain way, or people think that you're this or that. They think you're like this big, huge business entrepreneur. You bringing in like 5 or 6 figures a year. You're making millions of dollars and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm really sitting at my computer each night till 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to figure out how to put together a social media calendar or how to make sure that my business subscriptions get paid for the next month. Although it doesn't happen overnight, you have to trust the process and you have to trust the journey and believe that it will happen. Don't give in to those down moments within your business. And I feel like with first-time business owners or first-time entrepreneurs, a lack of business capital, lack of knowledge about business and entrepreneurship, those things can become very, very overwhelming. And they can become very overwhelming very quickly. And this is one of the things that put me in a down moment when I had first started my business. And even the most recent I can recall is probably 6 months ago. I was really in a down moment where I just didn't want to do anything. I had stuff to do for BeyondFour Foundation. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get on social media. I didn't want to look at a computer. And we can get really, really overwhelmed really fast when we're trying to do so much and trying to build a business that not only looks good on social media, but also is actually good, in the background. Like, I'm actually doing stuff that I feel like I'm doing this and that on social media, and people are hitting me up with these questions and that question. And how are you doing this and how are you doing that? And you're getting all this praise maybe from certain individuals on social media. And you're like, I'm not deserving of none of this. Like, I don't like my business, like what I'm doing really isn't benefiting anyone. I'm just trying to survive. But you have to understand that that's part of the journey. That's part of the process. And no, you're not an imposter just because people may think you're this or people may think you're that. Let people think that. But in the background, you have to continue to work and continue to grind and put in the necessary work that it takes to get from you thinking that you're an imposter to you actually being what it is that you want to be in your business and as an entrepreneur. What is the goal? You always have to keep that goal in front of you. Me, myself, and Chelsea, we always have a thing like, what is your why? What is your why? And my why is something that I really go back to very, very often, very frequently, usually daily. I'm thinking, why did I do this? Why did I start this business? Why did I feel the need to have this mental health and business webinar? Why? What is your why? If you can take what you're doing in the now, if you can take that mental state you're in, that state of depression, that state of you feeling that you're undeserving, or you not wanting to do what it is that you set forward to do, or that you set forth to do, if you can take those moments and think about your why and reflect on why you got started, those that is the that's the one thing that I can say that kind of gets me through those moments of depression, or those moments of being down on myself. And if you hear noise in the background, it's because the heater is on. But those are the moments, or those are the times that that moment of me thinking back to my why really pushes me and gets me through that mental state that I'm in. And one thing that I talked to Nikki, Nikidria about is, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing this, is how you have to kind of get out of that slump. You have to push yourself. Yes, it may seem hard. Yes, you may not want to get up, in the moment. You may not want to, work on that business plan. I mean, hell, you may not even want to get up and go to work if you work a 9 to 5 like I do. You may not even want to get up and go to work sometimes to actually make money to feed your business, and to feed your family. But you have to push through those moments, and you have to reflect on why you got started. I remember, so I'm a graduate of Full Sail University for my bachelor's, and I graduated in 2018 with my bachelor's. So, and this is a whole nother story for a whole nother time. I may make a YouTube video about it. So I graduated high school in 2008 and got my bachelor's degree 10 years later. 10 years later. So that's just a whole nother story in itself. So I graduated in 2018 with my bachelor's in sports media and marketing. But before I could get to the point where I was able to know what I actually wanted to do, to know that I wanted to be in sports business and marketing, to know that that was something that I was passionate about, I had to go through that process and that journey of being down, of being depressed mentally and physically, not wanting to get out of the bed, not wanting to really go and do anything that you really want to do on a daily basis. Get up, shower, brush your teeth, wash your face. I didn't want to do none of that because I was so down on myself and down with the thoughts that I had failed. Just because I was going through my process and going through my journey, I had failed at something. And it's like, no, you didn't fail. You just figured out what it was that you were passionate about. You figured out what it was that you love to do. And yeah, it took me 10 years to get to a point where I was okay with being myself. I was okay with not being a doctor. I was okay with dropping out of school and going back to school and all these other things. Like, it took me 10 years to get to that point where I was just okay being myself. And I talked to Nikki about this a lot. And I'm like, yo, you can't be so down on yourself and down on your process and your journey that you lose sight of why you started. And before I graduated in 2018, I remember it's a 2-year program at Full Sail University, one of the most fast-paced programs in the country for sports marketing. And I remember in 2016, I was thinking about my why. Like, why do I want to be an entrepreneur? Why do I want to be in business? Why do I love sports and business so much? And I remember telling myself, like, if it's one thing that I could do, that I would love to do, is I would love to market athletes. That was my why at the moment. I wanted to market athletes. I wanted to work with the NBA or Nike or somebody, and I wanted to be in the basketball department marketing athletes. That's not what I'm doing, but I wanted to do that. I wanted to set the stage in my mind to give me something to look forward to, something that, okay, look, this is attainable. I can go to school, I can do this, do that, and I can get to that point. Maybe it'll still happen one day, I don't know, but I can get to that point. And that was my why at the moment. Once I got into school, it kind of shifted a little bit into, okay, I still want to have my own business and be my own entrepreneur, be an entrepreneur, be my own boss. But I also wanted to have philanthropy as a part of it. I wanted to give back. And that's always been instilled in me. If you know me, you know I have a big heart. So I was like, okay, so this is my why. I wanted to help athletes, and I wanted to do it, build a nonprofit in order to help a younger generation of athletes. And I always keep that in my mind. Like, this is why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to help. And if you always instill that why, and again, I tell Nikki this all the time, and she's gonna look back on this and be like, why you pinpointing me out when you were talking about that why part? But I tell her this all the time. You have to reflect on why you started doing this. She is the founder of Bait Creation, and she gets so stressed out sometimes because she doesn't understand why her business isn't taking off like it should, or why certain things are happening, the way that they are, and they aren't happening, necessarily in her favor or to the benefit of her company. And I'm like, it don't matter. And it took me years to get to this, and I know it may take other people years, months to get to this part mentally, but you have to be like, it doesn't matter. I don't care who likes my post on Instagram. I don't care who likes my Twitter stuff, who retweets it. I don't care who's saying, congratulations. I don't care who's giving feedback. I don't care about any of that. What I care about doing is my why. I care about helping people, helping entrepreneurs, and helping athletes figure out their brand and business potential. That is my why. And I tell people all the time, you have to stop getting so focused on the recognition and do something worth recognition. I think I put that on Twitter or something before, but I'm like, you got to start worrying about getting recognition and do something worth recognition. And that will help alleviate some of the stress that a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs put on themselves. Like, we get so fixated on why people aren't buying our product, why people aren't giving to our business, why people aren't supporting us the way we need to be supported. Well, maybe those people aren't meant to be your supporters. And I had to get that into my system, and really, especially with my family. And that's a whole nother topic, especially with my family, because your family sometimes isn't going to be your biggest supporter. Your family isn't going to be the ones cheering you on right there next to you. I have friends and extended family who are more like blood to me than my own family is. And don't get me wrong, my family is great. I have a great family. I grew up in a great atmosphere and a great environment. But sometimes the people that we want to be our support system, the people that we think we need, we don't need them. We don't need people, there's certain person to like our stuff. We don't need our family to buy our products or to repost our stuff on Instagram or social media. We don't need that. And once we can kind of get that out of our system and understand that our family, and your family may be your why, but once we can realize what our why is, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters, because you're just doing it for the passion of it. And that takes a lot of mental stress and a lot of mental pressure off of entrepreneurs, because now they're not looking for that recognition. They're just working hard. You're just working hard in the background. You're building into that passion project, and you aren't letting the assumptions of others and consumers, and even your audience, the audience that you're targeting, you're not letting them really influence your why. You're working towards your why, you're working towards your passion for a reason. And that's whether you get the recognition or not. I'd rather die doing what I love and building a legacy that I'm proud of than to ever get any recognition for anything. And a lot of people know me, like, I love to stay behind the scenes. I don't like to come out. I don't like to do videos and stuff like that, but I'm recently just coming out and doing this because I know a lot of people need to hear this. A lot of people need to understand that we all battle mental issues. We all battle those times where we just really don't want to, I don't care what it is, we don't want to do it. A lot of people battle that. And even outside of business and entrepreneurship, a lot of people battle mental issues. And in the Black and brown communities, we don't talk about it because it's such a stigma. It's like, nah, my baby don't got no mental health issues. Nah, she all right. She just needs some rest. No, your baby need to talk about what's going on with them. Your child needs to, or your friend or your sister, your mom, whoever they need to talk about what's going on. And a lot of times in our community, we sweep it under the rug, like, you'll be all right, just, get up, drink some water, um, go outside for a walk. Yeah, that may help in the moment, but it may not help long term. And I have found that one of the things that does help is to just talk about it, to be open and honest with yourself about what it is that you have going on. And once you begin to talk about it, you begin to release that pressure. You begin to release it off your mind, and it lifts off your shoulders, and you're able to kind of move forward, maybe slowly but surely move forward into your goals, into achieving the things that you have set before you, and into being the best business business owner, businesswoman, businessman, and entrepreneur that you are meant to be. You're able to live in your purpose and your passion once you're able to really let go of the things that don't matter. And it took me 10 years, a little bit longer to learn that. But I'm telling you, it makes you enjoy the process even more. It makes you enjoy the process. It makes you enjoy the grind. And it makes it all worth it in the end when you can be happy with what you're doing. You can be happy with with yourself at the end of the day, and you can understand yourself better. You can really understand yourself better when you allow yourself to let go of certain things. And a lot of us don't really understand ourselves. We don't understand what we're passionate about. We don't understand our business. We don't understand how to create a business. We don't understand a lot of things. And it's time that we get to a point where we're talking about our mental state. We're talking about, everybody loves to talk about fitness and how to be fit. And nowadays, everybody loves to talk about the stock market and how to make money. And nobody wants to talk about the mental issues that come with making money, the mental issues that come with being an entrepreneur. And hopefully this entrepreneur talk series that I'm going to continue doing, hopefully this will kind of shed a little bit of light on what it is really like to be an entrepreneur. This first round, I really wanted to kind of go over my story, tell a little bit about myself and my journey, and hopefully it kind of enlightens somebody, or touches somebody in a way that they say, look, I'm not the only one going through this. And you're not. I've been there. I go through it just like you go through it, or others go through it. And if you ever want to talk about it, or you want to talk to somebody about it, I'm a great listener. That's what my friends say. So I'm a great listener. And if anyone out there ever needs any help, or is having issues mentally, feel free to reach out to me, or feel free to reach out to your local official place for mental health and depression, suicide hotlines. All of that is very, very real. And like I said, we love to talk about everything else. We love to talk about the flashy stuff, the materialistic things, the money, the cars. I see a lot of entrepreneurs on social media that love to talk about what they have, but they don't love to talk about those down moments, or what it took for them to really get to where they are now. And we're just going to break that stigma. We're going to break that mold, and we're just going to build a better generation of entrepreneurs that will hopefully then build up the next generation to come after them. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to just leave them in the chat, or if you want to come on video and ask a question, feel free. This is just the time to kind of, this is the time to get on here and just let me know what it is you have, if you have any questions, or if you have any thoughts or feedback or anything like that, just feel free. So I'll leave the floor open for a little bit. And then if nobody has any questions or comments, then I'll just close this thing out. And as always, like I said, feel free to reach out to me. My social media is at I am Asia McMillan, literally everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's all I am Asia McMillan. You can reach out to me anytime. It may take me a little bit, a little while to get back to your DMs because I am like working now. Our busy season has started. I'm actually away on work now in Virginia. So, and I did not want to cancel this. I canceled it one time before. And I actually canceled it before because I had so much going on. It was like the beginning of the year, school had started for me. I'm a graduate student at the Georgetown University, go Hoyas. So a lot of things had started, and me and Nikki both were just kind of doing so much at once. And we were just like, we can't do it right now. So I put it on the back burner. And then actually Chelsea brought it up and was like, when are y'all gonna do the mental health? Because I need that. I need to hear that. So I was like, yo, we finna do it. I don't care. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm gonna take the time out to just come on here and talk about, things that others aren't talking about. So yeah. All right. So if nobody else has any questions or any comments, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Again, it's always a pleasure to come on here and talk to anyone about Alexis. You are welcome. It's always a pleasure to come on here and just talk about mental health, talk about business, talk about entrepreneurship. If you know me, I live, eat, and sleep business, marketing, sports marketing. So feel free to get at me with your questions and comments. We will be doing this again soon, and hopefully I will be getting Nikki to get back on here with me. I missed having her on here today because it was going to be a really, really great conversation with her and myself. But next time we'll get it going, and we'll really do a little bit more marketing behind it to get more people on here. But those who were meant to be on here were on here. And yeah, I'm gonna record it while it's recording, and it will be shared via my social, biggerthanbrunch.com, Bigger Than Brunch social channels, and it will be on podcast form and video form as well. All right. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all later. Hope you all have a blessed Sunday. Talk to you guys soon. All right. Peace.